Hello everybody, welcome back to the table. Today we are taking a look at a kind of a unique knife. This is one of those knives I actually pre-ordered back in December and I literally forgot that I had bought it. So I bought this back in December. This is a knife coming to us from the Crispy Donut community. And I don't know too much about that site or this company, but of course we can see this knife is definitely donut themed, which is of course a popular thing going around this year in the knife community. Kind of a niche thing with the pink and the blue. So if you're into the bright colors, into the donut themed anything, I think this is going to be right up your alley. So I bought this back in December. Early May, they sent out some shipping notices, and I was actually kind of happy. I remembered it at that point. And this is the Crispy Donut Community, the Hanson. So that is the name of this model. So let's take a look at what came with it, because it's kind of a unique little setup here. So what we have here on the table, we have a poker chip with the logo on there. Crispy Donut Community, EDC Essentials. And if you go to their site, you see they sell knives, they sell EDC type gear, all with the same kind of donutty theme. Right here, the Crispy Donut Community Hanson. And of course, that's the model name for this knife. So kind of cool, we get a little poker chip. We do get the sticker with the same logo, holographic, kind of a nice touch. We have the business card, which we'll set right there, as well as the card with the information on the knife. So this knife has D2 blade steel, a G10 handle, and hardware is all blacked out. So this is the Hanson, the first run. So let's take a look at the knife itself. Right here we can see, of course, the draw to this knife is these handles. So we have blue and pink G10 layered on top of each other, and you can see it's cut out to give the sprinkle effect, I guess you can call that. So we have the G10 handles, and also that being said, if you don't like this sprinkle pattern, but you like the size and style of the knife, they also sell this blacked out, and they also sell this with blue G10, just plain blue G10. So you do have some options there. But there are some neat features with this knife that I did notice just handling it. Of course, we have a flipper and thumb studs here. Our D2 blade steel is black coated. We have the CDC logo on one side and the D2 markings on the other. And Crispy Donut Community had this made by QSP. So QSP is the manufacturer of this knife, which means it is a good quality piece. And so let's take a look at some of the specs. We have the length right here. So let me pull the ruler out. We can see our overall length is pretty much right at 7 inches long. The blade length coming in a little over 2 3/4. So 2 3/4 inch blade. And the weight of this knife is coming in at about 3 1/4 ounces. So 3.25, 3.26 ounces. So it's not too heavy, and it's a pretty decent size overall. Even though the blade is not 3 inches, it feels pretty good, pretty substantial in hand. It doesn't feel like a small knife at all. And so some of the cool things about this knife, the show side G10 scale right here, if we look inside there, you can see there's no liner. It's just a G10 slab. So that definitely helps with the weight reduction on this knife. So a lightweight G10 scale. We do have full steel liners, of course, on the liner lock side. And the lockup is nice and early. Kind of hard to see with a blacked out knife, but you can see the lockup there. There's no play. Very solid feeling. Centering is nice and centered, I guess you could say. But what I wanted to say, you can see how tight the fitting is. So there's really no space for play in there because everything is so tightly fit together. So it doesn't rub on the G10 scales at all. Very nicely done. We do have a 2-position pocket clip. As you can see, we have a nice filler tab on this side, and you can see the screws are totally flush. So this carries nice and deep. You do see a little bit of that pink sticking out of your pocket when you are carrying it, but other than that, it's very unobtrusive, very easy to carry, nice and smooth in and out of pocket. So really no issues there. We do have a flipper tab that's kind of like very push buttony. So you can kind of see that in action. Action is good. So this knife does look to run on bearings, very smooth. I don't know if it's quite drop shutty. You can see a little bit. But the blade itself, one of the things that kind of looks interesting here, of course, it's a drop point design. We can see right here near the tip. Look at right there. There's like a slight compound grind right there on both sides. It's so minute. It's just it's kind of unique. I don't know if that was meant to be that way. I'm sure it is, but it's so interesting. That's a kind of like little compound grind sometimes you see on Tanto blades that cost a lot more than this knife, of course. But this upswept belly, makes it really nice for if you wanted to make rolling cuts like that. There is a little bit of jimping here on the spine as well to help with that, or just to get your thumb grip on there. So pretty well thought out design, to be honest with you. The only thing I would complain about is it would be nice to see this same design, but with a nice stonewash blade. Because my feeling is with the blacked out blade, you lose a lot of the detail. You can't, like even on camera, you can't see a lot of the detail of the hardware or detail of the blade itself. So stonewashing does tend to bring some of that out for you. Minor complaint. We have a lanyard hole in the back, kind of nice. And again, just that sprinkle donut style knife that seems to be really popular. So we can put this up right next to the Civivi Elementum. And of course, this is also, sprinkle design, donut design. So you can see those side by side. Very similar, of course, different companies and different, very different construction. We can see this is a painted on finish, whereas this is part of the G10, which is going to be a little more durable, because if you actually use and abuse your Civivi here, all this paint is going to eventually wear and rub off, which is not a bad thing. Wear and tear is not a bad thing. But the sprinkle pattern on the Hanson here is going to last a bit longer because of that. At least in appearance. But the whole donut thing, it's gone across the EDC industry. So we have an O light right here. Again, donut pattern, sprinkle light. And it goes across. So there's a lot of popularity at this point with donuts for whatever reason. Of course, the whole origin of this came from Blade HQ with their Desert Warrior knives, because people didn't know how to spell dessert or Desert Warrior. So that's kind of silly as a origin of this thing, but it's spread like wildfire. So we have dessert knives, donut knives everywhere in the industry now, and probably more to come. A lot of styles and designs still coming out with this motif, and as long as people buy them, they are going to be for sale. So we have the Elementum, we have the Hanson, another knife from QSP, just for size comparison. This is the Penguin, QSP Penguin, denim micarta scales there. So all within the same ballpark size-wise. We can see, again, the very similar pocket clips because they're both produced by QSP. So that's all very nice and nicely done. And these companies just great at churning out these knives. And of course, if you want something custom or customish, like the Hanson here as a company, you just reach out to a place like QSP, and heck, 5-6 months later, you got your design in customer hands. So I'm not a spokesperson for this company at all, but I will drop a link to their site in the description below. So check that out if you'd like. I don't think they've officially released the knife yet. I think you can probably pre-order it or something. And at $60, we have a D2 blade. Of course, the donut motif, which is going to be, I think, a big draw for people. And they even have, for pre-sale, a really nice, I saw a titanium frame lock on their site as well, which I may be interested in getting. So this is the CDC Crispy Donut Community, the Hanson. So really impressive first thoughts here. If you have any questions about this knife, or tell me what you think, honestly. Do these donut knives disgust you? Do you think they're fun? Personally, I think they're just a nice, something different than just plain black, plain, OD green knives that we get, in the industry. So I love seeing color. I love seeing different styles. Would I carry it every day? This one, actually, I would. This one's not as extreme as the Elementum here. This one is more just for show, just to laugh at. But I could definitely see carrying this, nice rough G10 handles around if you wanted a user knife. So by all means, tell me your thoughts about the CDC Hanson. Hope you all enjoyed watching. Have a nice day, everyone. See ya.